and Finance. This morning, we have in our presence, as I mentioned earlier, the representative of the Republic of Ghana, Mr. Prosper Douglas Kwekubani. He is the Chief of Staff. In his own right, he is an international peace builder and a senior manager when it comes to development and aid. In no better position than to lead us through what we're going to be doing this morning. The theme of the Economic Outlook and Business Strategy Conference for today is attracting foreign direct investment into Ghana. That's a very important and positive effects on the country which attracts foreign direct investment. And at the end of the day, all we need to do is to achieve the objectives of what we're trying to do. Interaction, not just with money, but also with technical savoir-faire. I'm going to be introducing you to the distinguished persons that are seated on the high table. We will begin, obviously, with the chairman for today, and he is in the person of Dr. Michael Ajekum Adam. He's the CEO of Karma Group of Companies, and in 1972, that's when he entered university, when a lot of us maybe here may not have been born. After working for a private medical manufacturing company for a few years, he started his own business, opening his first pharmacy way back in 1986. Since then, he's built the pharmaceutical industry and a company called the Karma Group. He now employs over 400 staff and boasts 11 wholesale and retail outlets across Ghana. 2 pharmaceutical factories, a microfinance firm, real estate business, multi-purpose conference center. Who better to cheer us when it comes to how are we going to attract foreign direct investment into the company. Currently, he's a member of the National Development Planning Commission. He's the national president for the Ghana Red Cross Society. He's the chairman of the Pentecost University College Council and currently the chairman of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. And I'm going to be asking him to give us a few opening remarks shortly, but I will continue very quickly with the rest of the people that are here with us on the table. I'll begin with Ambassador Perry. Ambassador Perry is from the Corporate Council on Africa. He's one of the senior members and delegates there. Before I do that, I'd like us to have a little wait because there's an entire trade delegation that came through from the United States of America, from the Corporate Council on Africa for this program, and just like you to understand, give me a wave, and I'd like us to welcome them very warmly into Ghana. Thank you very much for coming. Ambassador Perry, he's been with us in Ghana for a while, and I'm just going to pick up my notes that I had on him. And he's going to be giving us an opening session. He's the Vice President of the Corporate Council on Africa, and he manages their conferences and their programs, trying to foster understanding of business opportunities that can happen in Africa, build relationships for future partnerships. He is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations and the American Foreign Service Association. He served on various non-governmental organization boards, and he has his own Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from Wittenberg University and a Master's in International Relations from the American University. Ambassador Perry, very welcome this morning to the high table. And seated right next to him, many of us may know him, but for those who don't, he is in England the Councillor of the Exchequer, and he is our Honourable Minister of Finance and Economic Planning. He obtained a first degree in Bachelor of Commerce, which is from the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. And he's a chartered accountant in his own right and holds a master's public administration. And that degree was from Kennedy School, Harvard University. He's consulted for the IMF, for the Harvard Institute of International Development, Harvard International Tax Program, and the African Development Bank. He's also been with the United Nations in their Committee on Tax Experts, and he was a correspondent for tax analysis in the United States of America. Honorable Seth Tepper, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, we welcome you. Thank you very much. I'm going to switch all the way over to the other side of the table. We are expecting the Minister of Trade and Industry or his representative to come be with us, and we will introduce him or the person at the time. However, I have with me also somebody who's well known to a number of us. He is, excuse me, I know his name is Dr. Bafo Osei, but what we have is that he's the head, as far as I have over here, of the EDAIF, which is the Economic Development for African Investment, as far as I have it. Export and investment, thank you very much. And he's going to give us a speech all on his own a little later on in the program. You're very welcome to today's program. And then I have our own, we call him our own HE, he's our own Honorable Excellency, and he is in the place of Honorable Spio Gabra, Dr. Spio Gabra, very welcome. I'm going to be giving you a full profile of him this morning. However, I'm going to hand over right now straight to our chairman for his opening remarks.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, members of the High Table, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols observed. It gives me a great pleasure to welcome you and to accept to be the chairman. I really want to encourage you to participate in this morning's session. A few remarks that I would wish to give you comes from a story where people were looking for the most corrupt country. So there was a container with liquid, and coming from which country that you are coming from, you stand in it, and the level on your body determines how corrupt your country is. So the European went in, and the liquid was at the knee level. So after all, there's some kind of corruption in Europe. Then the American went in, and it was at the waist level. So people were saying, hey, so there's corruption in America after all. The Asian went in, and it was at the chest level. Then they asked the Ghanaian that we are now here in your country. Stand in the container, let's see. But we hear so much about corruption in your country. The Ghanaian went in, and it was at the ankle level. So the Asian, the European, and the Americans said, no way. We got to investigate. No corruption in Ghana at the ankle level, no. They investigated, and they realized that the Ghanaian was standing on the head of another African. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Ghanaian has a whole bunch of skills as to show how he's not corrupt. It goes to confirm the fact that they were looking for brains to buy. The European brain was $2,000. American brain was $5,000. The Asian brain was $20,000, and the African brain was $1 million. So what? How come? It's so expensive. They said it's untapped. Just for the past 100 years, they have not used it for science, for whatever. It's still there. What I'm trying to arrive at is the fact that the human resource is here. Use it, train it, and you'll be there. The Greenwich Meridian, passing through the whole world, is passing through Ghana. The latitude is also passing through the equator, passing through our shores. The crossroad of the world is in Ghana. I believe God himself is a Ghanaian. Ladies and gentlemen, Ghana is a paradise. Go through the Bible and the Quran, everything that God gave to mankind is in Ghana. From the sun to the sun, from the air to water. Human beings are unique. I tell you, Ghana is a safe place for you to do your investment. I believe choosing Ghana for your investment is the best. And for now, having been chosen as the chairman for Ghana Investment Promotion Center, as a businessman, I don't have any political inclination, and yet the government has seen through me to be able to lead the center. You are safe. Most bottlenecks are now over. Due diligence, if you do it, I'm sure you have your fine time. Because time is money, and we are going to encourage you to have good time for your investment. thank you for sharing the occasion. I believe you are going to cooperate with me and believe that we will have a way of reducing corruption. Thank you very much.
Dr. Palmer, thank you very much. And now that the chairman has officially asked us to be open, we will do just that. And what we have today, I mean, he was talking about what our dear God was having issues about us, but there was this joke about when the world was being created and all the countries were being shaped out and things were happening all over the place in heaven, and there was a lot of flurry of activity because the world was being created. And there was God with his, probably these funny looking glasses on his nose, and he was kept, you know, he'll put one mineral there, one oil here, one piece of good tools of management here, and then he'll drop one into Ghana. And he'll put one and drop it into Ghana. And everybody around was looking at God and saying, God, what's happening? You've dropped in oil, you've dropped in gas, you've dropped in bauxite, you've dropped in all these gold and onyx and minerals. What's happening? He says, wait until you see the people that I'm going to put into Ghana. Then you'll know. And so now, based on what our chairman has said, it looks like we have all the skills necessary in order to attract all the foreign direct investment that we need to make Ghana the gateway for Africa. Thank you very much, Chairman. And so we continue very quickly, and now that we've gotten started, we're going to have the welcome address by the Chairman of the African Business Media, and that's in the person of Honorable Dr. Eko Spiogabra. I'll be giving you.
Thank you very much, Madam. May I recognize the Honorable Chief of Staff of the Office of the President of the Republic of Ghana, the Honorable Minister for Finance and Economic Planning. We've heard from the Chairman for this occasion. We are very grateful to have a distinguished businessman like Mr. Jikumado, Dr. Jikumado, Chairman of the GIPC, to actually chair and grace this occasion. Ambassador Perry from the CCA, our friends from the EDAIF, the Export Development and Agricultural Investment Fund, Mr. Bafose. Thank you all. Your Excellencies, representatives of the diplomatic corps, distinguished colleagues, the other members of parliament here, our assemblymen who also are honorable, distinguished businessmen and women from different parts of the world, good morning. It's really my honor and my pleasure and privilege to say a few words here on behalf of the organizing team that has made this conference possible. As you may know, this is the second in a series of annual conferences that Africa Business Media, it's a very small company, small and medium enterprises, as many of us know, are really the driving force of economic growth in most of the world, not just the developing world. Indeed, we hear that in most countries, up to 80 to 90% of all businesses are small and medium-sized enterprises. And indeed, beyond just SMEs, as we call them, we are now beginning to see micro enterprises, which are 1, 2, 3 person type businesses. Indeed, almost all the artisans, your taxi drivers, people who own 1 or 2 vehicles of transport, carpenters, electricians, air conditioning repairers, they own their own businesses, but they are micro enterprises. And there are over 100 million estimated of such micro enterprises in Africa alone. Now, of course, these are the companies or potential companies, enterprises, which economists believe can create the most jobs. Because one good mechanic or carpenter or taxi driver who can employ 2 or 3 other people is actually getting 100%, 200%, 300% increases in its employment. Whereas a very large company of 2,000 or 3,000 people, even if they employ 10 more people, are potentially only increasing their workforce by 1, 2 or so percent. So the more we can encourage small and medium-sized enterprises to also feed into the value chain of larger multinational companies and big state enterprises, the faster most of our economies will grow. So I stand here having served in the public service, but now as a private entrepreneur of sorts and work on behalf of our 15 other shareholders, institutional as well as private sector shareholders of Africa Business Media, to welcome you all to this second in the series of our annual Economic Outlook and Business Strategy Conferences. Now we want this conference and similar events that we organize to be very interactive. And so since we've heard references to the Bible and to creation, let me start to try and be interactive somewhat by finding out who is visiting Ghana for the first time. Can we see by a show of hands those who've been visiting Ghana for the first time? Don't be ashamed. In my church, they say all eyes closed and all head bowed. Those who are visiting the church for the first time should, stand up and be acknowledged. So shall we give a clap offering for those who are visiting Ghana for the first time? I think you've heard some of my colleagues say how wonderful this country is. I'm not going to say too much about that because I would like to leave it to your own experience, but I hope you will not be disappointed. May I also ask those who are visiting this hotel and this particular conference room for the first time? Can we see by a show of hands? I want the hotel management to see it because by virtue of us bringing them here, we are adding to the hotel's revenue streams and popularity as well as reputation. And so that's how business happens. We selected this hotel. There are a lot of very good hotels in Accra, but this one has a high local content element. To the best of our knowledge, it's owned by Ghanaians, even though they have other shareholder partners we don't know. And so there are many hotels in Ghana, but we selected this one as a representation of what Ghanaians can do if given the opportunity through partnership, through joint ventures, through foreign direct investment, combining with local capital to move the nation forward, to create jobs, and to provide avenues for economic growth, for taxation, because my finance minister needs your part of your action. Just like God needs 10% of your tithes, the finance minister also needs his, whatever the percentage corporate rates are of the companies that we are creating. So we are grateful that you are here, but even though, as I said, in church, we are asked to recognize those who have attended for the first time and they may be taken for special prayers. Sometimes people are afraid to raise their hand because they think tithes and offering will be the next thing that the pastor or the bishop is going to ask for them. We will not be asking for any tithes from you today. No offerings, except your intellectual capital, your experience, your national knowledge that you can bring to bear. Let us also see, by way of nationality representation, the different kinds of countries that are here. Because I think the chief of staff, when obviously going back to see the president, will have to give him a briefing. That when I went, there were people from such and such country. Let's see if there are any South Africans here by any chance. Anybody from South Africa? Thank you very much. Anybody from the UK, resident of the UK, who is here? We have some UK residents here. The United States, we've heard from them in the past. Anybody from China, Hong Kong, or the Far East? Thank you very much. What about Europeans? I think there are a few Europeans here. Europeans? I don't know whether the Turkish have a very unique position. They can either be European, they can be Asian, or they can be Middle Eastern. So let us see whether there are any Turkish people here who can bridge all those three gaps. Nigerians? Anybody from Nigeria? Yes, we have a few Nigerians here. As they say, 1 out of every 4 Africans is Nigerian. So if wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in the name of God, Jesus is there. Wherever 3 or 4 Africans are gathered, 1 Nigerian will also be there. And thank you for your being here. Anybody from any other country that I have not mentioned, so that you don't feel like we have overlooked you. Israel, maybe. Thank you very much. Brazil, maybe. There you go. Yes, madam. Sierra Leone, very good. Any other countries? 77 countries. African Development Bank, they represent 77 countries. It's not one person. You can't get better than that. And I believe you are also from another country by yourself as a nationality. Cameroonian. And gentleman there? India, of course. India. Very populous country. Very hard-charging and very successful country. Prosperous in recent years, especially. India rising, right? Is the theme of your national program of expansion. We thank you all for coming from so many different nations and for joining us today. As the organizing committee, I need to also express our regrets for those who didn't come on time, and for those of you who are not from Africa, or certainly not from Ghana, who are those who came on time. Now that alone is one element of national development, planning and growth, which we need to conquer. But you don't think that when you are going to grow at 10% or 11%, just because you got oil or you had gold or you had, agro-forest, that's why you grew at that percentage. I don't believe so. It is the speed with which you are transforming your economy, speed, that leads to that growth rate of 8%, 9%, or 10%.